Is this indicative of what's going on tonight? Man, oh man. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm your host, Mr. A. This is the set. And of course, we're running into some sort of technical difficulty. My guest tonight is Mr. Junito, athlete, boxer, part-time activist from Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Evidently, he seems to be running into some sort of technical difficulty, if you would. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I have a feeling that tonight's going to be one of those nights. So what we're going to do is play it by ear. And wherever it goes, it goes. Evidently, the platform that we work on gives access to people via phone, tablet, computer, and what have you, all forms of technology. And the gentleman is using a phone, and I don't think, Mr. Gaston, I see you. I don't think that he is having an easy go, if you would, of connecting. Now, if anybody's watching, you've been around for, the ups and downs of connecting and sound and things that happen along with the show. And that's all right. This is a young show. It's a new show. We're sort of learning as we go along, and it's okay. But at the same time, just understand it's not always going to be this way. Things are changing. The show's going to evolve. We're going to definitely have a different look in the very near future. Things are going to change. We're going to make it look a little more glossy, a little more professional, if you would. So, don't judge it just yet. Things are definitely going to change. We have a whole lineup coming up in the next couple of weeks. Great guests, wonderful content, interesting stories, real people telling real stories. That's what the show is about. This is about real people telling real stories. So I hope nobody gets turned off by, when we deal with shit like this, because it's real. It happens, So, yeah, tonight we were supposed to have a discussion with this gentleman. He seems to be having a little problem, and we're gonna make the show, do what it do, if you would. So before I go any further, I'm just checking some things out. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. I hope everybody was entertained by the fight yesterday. Oh Jesus, yeah. There's only one king of the views. And it's definitely not you. Your day has passed, my man. Salute to Mr. Mark David Valentine. The brother always comes through just in time to bust balls. But salute to you, Mr. Valentine. I see what you're doing out here. And you already know the set's ready for that exclusive, so salute. Also, before I started today's show, I had a couple of conversations with possible future guests. And I just want to say a salute to a Mr. Solomon Vaughn, a.k.a. Boondock. Boondock is a producer from Colorado Springs. He's somebody that I've followed, for quite some time, 10 years plus. And I was fortunate enough to sit down with him and have a conversation. And I can truly appreciate the fact that no matter what people do in life, they remain regular. And it rings back to a conversation that I also had with another producer who's done big things and who I respect. And if you're watching 10304, I keep it like that just to sidebar everybody that don't know who I'm talking about to a degree. But salute to you, and I hope you are making strides in your recovery. You already know what it is. But it rings back to a conversation I had with another producer who, in that same vein, during our conversation, I pointed that out to him. I said, man, I really appreciate the fact that you've remained regular. People who make it in the entertainment industry or reach any sort of level of accolades and recognition in the world, they tend to lose themselves in reality, right? So you'll always hear stories about, hey, I was working with this entertainer and he made sure that nobody would look him or her in the eyes. He didn't want, or she didn't want nobody looking at them in the face. And that just seems just like so fucking ridiculous. I think at the end of the day, no matter where you go in life and what you achieve, the way you stay grounded is by staying fucking normal. Now, all that to say, Miss Johanna, I haven't forgotten about you. I see you. Good evening. We will be speaking. All that to say, like, we may not do the same things. We're not going to be on a yacht over in, at the Cannes Film Festival and, drinking champagne, eating caviar. Good evening. And our lives are going to be different. But at the end of the day, we're still human. We're still regular fucking people. You're not special. And if money changes you, the reality is you have always been an asshole. Right? If I woke up tomorrow and I hit the Mega Million, I'm not leaving my wife. I'm not going to disown people that I truly love and that I'm close with and that I fuck with. I'm just not. Now, don't get it twisted. You're not just going to come to me and be like, let me hold something. Nah. We definitely not on it like that. I could definitely, see maybe helping your dreams come to fruition and we could partner, But I could never be the type of person to be like, this is changing me. It's not. And a lot of people that I know personally will say, yeah, that's what broke motherfuckers say. Well, the reality is you may have a financial leg up. That's dope. Good for you. But you know what? There's other aspects of your life that you're fucking lacking. You know what I'm saying? You could have all the bread in the world and be fucked up. Your wife is probably playing you, or she really don't like you, or you don't like her, but y'all stay together for circumstances. Your kids may be fucked up because they're seeing the example that they have. There's all other items in the world to measure one's rich or wealth by. Measure their wealth by. It's not just financial. You could hold something, homie. Pause. But what I'm saying to you is that in the conversation that I'm having with this gentleman, he's accomplished and he's done a lot in his life musically, and he's evolved over time, and he's now delving into acting. He even did a spot. He did a Doritos commercial, and we all know Doritos commercials are huge, right? Who wouldn't want to do a Doritos commercial? That's bread. So we had the conversation, and we found so much commonality. There were so many things that we were alike in or had interest in, and just in life. And I say that all to say that it was amazing to see that this person that I followed and have been a fan of was just a regular fucking dude. So we had a great conversation. Hopefully, Solomon's going to come on the show. We're sort of talking about doing a certain partnership, and I'm going to be working on that. So everybody who's following the show, if things work out the way that I want them to, listen, it's definitely gonna be a dope show. So be on the lookout for that. Aside from that, we also have some great guests lined up. So as you can see, Sunday, December 6th, 7:30 p.m., cinematographer, filmmaker, and creator Aram Spike Bauman is going to be coming on the show to talk about his journey in filmmaking, his ups, his downs, some of the films that he's worked on and put out, and everything in between when it comes to his life and being a creator. So I hope everybody could join us for that. Again, Sunday, December 6th, 7:30 p.m. Aram Spike Bauman is going to be on the show. And then Sunday, December 13th, 7:30 p.m., Andres Chulisi Rodriguez, singer, actor, and one-man show creator. Man, Mr. Andres has an interesting story to tell. And again, here on the show, we're about real people telling real stories. So if you are interested or want to hear a story of triumph, man, this is something you have to tune into. So again, Sunday, December 13th, 7:30 p.m., Andres Chulisi Rodriguez. He's a singer, actor, and he created a one-man show based around his life. Great person, great energy, and I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy that. And then Wednesday, December 16th at 7:30 p.m., CKMD Dance Studios, Miss Beverly Vasquez, I don't want to mess up her name, and Miss Chantel Dewsbury. Now, we've spoken a lot about having entrepreneurs and profiling people that are starting their businesses and just telling their stories. So, pardon me. So, we're going to be bringing on, let me flash this again. We're going to be bringing on this mother-daughter duo. And I really hope that everybody tunes in for this one because this story is amazing. This is a mother and daughter who are gambling on themselves right now. And they're opening up a dance studio. Yes, they are opening up a brick and mortar dance studio in the time of COVID, right? And they are going to be teaching some real interesting and amazing form of dance. And not only that, but they're going to use technology to broaden their customer base. And to boot, they're making it affordable for the people. And I think that this is a story not only that needs to be told, but should be admired and should be championed because it's about time people started getting it in their heads. People of color and specifically black people, get it in your heads. We are the wave. We're the ones who bring all the great things to the forefront. Music, fashion, hairstyles, slang, everything you could think of that's being sold is based around us. So I hope everybody can come and join us for that show. They have a great story, and I think it's really brave of them, and it shows not only the fortitude, or as my man Shawnee Corey would say, salute the leisure life, the intestinal fortitude and the courage and ambition to bring forth this type of business in this environment. So I hope that everybody will be able to join the show and hear their story. Outside of that, wow, who saw the fight yesterday? Woo, man, oh man. To see two old men get in the ring and do that for 8 rounds was entertaining to say the least. However, I have to say, Roy Jones Jr. definitely did not want to be in the ring. He did not want to be there. He was there for that check and hoping to keep Mike off his ass enough not to knock him out. So that's tough. That's real tough. Mike looked great. He went in there, came right out, had the head movement going, the body movement, sneaking in punches, doing the little peekaboo style that he was taught and learned from day one. He looked fucking amazing. And you got to take your hats off to Mike Tyson, Brooklyn's own. He went in there and did something that I didn't think anybody his age would be able to accomplish. Roy, my advice to you is stay out of the ring. You have definitely missed a lifetime's worth of leg day. You look like you was walking in there like you didn't wipe your ass right, and you was walking all kinds of funny. And man, it just looked bad. It looked bad for Roy Jones. It definitely did. On another note, man, poor Nate Robinson. Whew. That man looked like he got in there with zero training, right? Jake Paul, I believe his name is. He's feeling himself, and, I won't take it away from him. Although I have to say he's letting the wave get to him a little too much because he's calling out people like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. And it's like, bro, slow down. You really need to slow down. And I get that you're training and, you're probably getting your confidence up and whatnot, but Just because you beat two people, one guy, the first fight he had, the dude was trained and he was a fighter or whatever, but you fought Nate Robinson, you know? Maybe if it was a street fight, maybe, because Nate got hands, he just doesn't have trained hands. And if you remember the start of the fight, he caught him with a quick left. And after that, it was like, a crying game. Homeboy was hugging on to him like forever. But Nate was the stronger one, physically. So if he wanted to, if that was a street fight, he could have caught him with the left, picked him up, and dumped him on his neck, and it's game over. However, that didn't happen. We saw what happened. Nate got slept, and, kudos to him for having the balls to get in the ring, but I hope he's not hurt permanently. I hope, Jake Paul's punch to his temple didn't rattle his brain indefinitely. It's always kind of sad and fucked up to see somebody go through that. You know what I mean? But it definitely was entertaining. And speaking of entertaining, did you guys see the outfits on these dudes that were like rhyming or I know YG, that's pretty much the only YG, Snoop, and somebody else. But there was this cat that came out there in like his little sister's clothes. Did y'all see that? Woo! He had the pink blazer that was like 5 sizes too small. Had the nerve to take the shit off. And he had a muscle shirt with Betty Boop on it. And on top of that, he had the leather leggings. What? Ladies, do y'all really find this attractive? Y'all like this new wave where dudes is dressing like broads? I mean, in the late 80s, there was a whole androgynous movement, 80s to late 80s, mid to late 80s, whatever. They had that whole androgynous shit. But, creatively, I think we've gotten past that, right? Because we've always experienced entertainers taking risks from a fashion sense. So, you had Rick James, Prince, Shalimar. You had all these sort of artists that would delve into sort of this androgynous look and put an eyeliner and shit like that and wearing the fucking skater uniform and the pirate shirt, But these cats are not, they are entertainers, but they're not artists. And if if we consider them artists, they're one-dimensional, right? So when you look at a Rick James or, I was just speaking to this cat about this dude, Bootsy Collins or Sly and the Family Stone, Prince, you look at them, we're talking about musicians. We're talking about guys who can play 4, 5, 6, 7, instruments and were songwriters and, were multi-dimensional. You know what I mean? You can't necessarily call these hip hop artists in that vein. So I don't get what's the point of being a man and being a hip hop artist and coming out dressed like a full on, like, what are you doing? And if that's the case, ladies, are any of you, with a dude that dresses like that or likes your man to dress like that? Like, are you going to get mad when he goes into the closet and tries to use your leggings? Like, seriously. Dude had oh man, it was just a mess. What? I'm sorry, I'm getting messages in the middle of the show. Again, we were supposed to have this guest on the show. He seems to be having an issue. And, sometimes when this happens, I got to be on my phone trying to communicate, and trying to make this happen. And it's, it's just one of those, this happens to be that Sunday that, this happens now, which I didn't want it to, but whatever. So yeah, I think that just threw me for a loop. What else is going on? Yo, does this country have a new president? Like, did Did Captain Shitpants like finally get out his feelings and it's over, or are they still dragging this out in court? Or man, there's a lot of things going on with that, and I really won't get into exactly what I believe and how I feel about, and my beliefs about government. But here's what I will say: it's kind of hard for me as a man of color. Just saying, like, not me personally, like, just say I'm randomly. I'm one of these members of the population, and I want to be the member of the Republican. I want to be a member of the Republican Party. It's kind of hard for me to do that when that party has all the people that are threatening civil war and a race war, right? So how? I believe Trump got like 18% of the black vote, which is probably historical. Salute, Ms. Brown. I see you. Good evening. And it's kind of hard to square that. How can I be a part of a group that has this large swath of people that are saying, if this guy doesn't get the election overturned in his favor, we're going to have a civil war and a race war? How do you square that? How do you make sense of that, right? Do you say, oh yeah, those people aren't with us? Do you say, no, they're just crazy? Like, how do you make sense of that? That's something that I can never get anybody to answer, And I've been engaging in discussions with many people of all stripes, and it just seems like nobody wants to address that issue. Excuse me. So, I don't know. And again, my phone is going off because my guess is just, what the hell? It's good for 15 minutes. Yes, Ms. Brown, they are. They're crazy ignorant. All that to say, people, I don't believe in this government whatsoever. Period. People want to take sides and, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Listen, this cycle repeats itself. These people are in power. The other group is saying, oh, you got to pay the deficit down, and you got to be fiscally responsible, and you guys are going off the deep end with these social issues. This group is in power. Oh, you guys are racist, and it's the same shit over and over and over again. So when does it end? Because the same shit is always happening. Clinton was in office. He left. There was a financial surplus. I watched this happen in real time. George Bush is elected. In real time, this little midget gets up there and says, we're in a recession. Bro, you've been here a week. What the fuck are you talking about? How are we in a recession? Oh, he let us know real quick how the fuck we was in a recession. Right? No big contracts during the Iraq war. And all this other shit that went on and drove the country into the ground, and the fucking housing bubble and all this shit. Now he loses the election. Who did they bring up? Who walked into the scene? Barack Obama. What did he do? I'll tell you what he did. Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me, folks. Ms. Brown, I'm Miss Dana Lee, I apologize. But you wouldn't see, I should keep calling you Mrs. Brown so you could come see me, because I haven't seen you in God knows how. Salute to Miss Dana Lee, the big sis. She's checking the little bro right now. So Obama comes in and people lost their fucking mind. You had people in town halls crying their eyes out. Oh, I want my country back. So it was like the country was already, the populace was already to rip itself at the seams because of what Bush had done. Like, really, there was so much crazy shit going on that it was about to explode. And they gave us Obama. Now Obama was polarizing because it was the first physically black man who actually had a viable shot at becoming the president, right? But what did that do to the opposite side? What did it do to the other, party, the people who subscribed to that? It drove them insane. Now, what they wouldn't tell you is, I don't want him to be president because I don't like black people. They wouldn't just say it outright. They spoke in code, some of them. The country rebounded and economically climbed out of the hole, and, things moved along. And then in the last 4 years of his presidency, socially, he started putting forth, legislation that was being stonewalled. And I get it. That's how government works. But the people who were stonewalling him were making no bones about it. They were just like, listen, this is what it is. We don't want him to succeed. We don't like him. They did all sorts of disrespectful shit to that man. But it was blatant. And for me, it's political theater, because whatever happens in government is just to signal to the population and set them off. You divide them, right? And that's exactly what happened. Soon as Obama stepped on the stage, people were like, nah. And little by little, the grumblings started to grow to shouts, that grew to yelling, that grew to outright open, like, fuck this dude. And they hung him. They would make an Obama dummy and hang him. And people would call him all sorts of crazy shit. And, then it got to the point where the N-word was resurfacing. And racist groups were crawling out of the woodwork. Like, we're not hiding anymore. And the Tea Party was invented. And, there was all these things that happened socially to the country. Then what happened? Along comes Trump. Now Trump comes in. Now these people feel like they got somebody for them. Sorry, folks. I'm going to continue with what I'm saying right now. But I have to help this gentleman. So Trump comes along and he pulls the cork off the champagne bottle, right? Because he's not, quote unquote, beholden to anybody. He's supposedly a self-made man. Well, let me help you out a little bit if you don't understand or you're still believing in the myth. Trump was never a self-made man. Self-made means you got a job and you worked your way up and you saved and you scraped and you did, and one day, boom, you hit it. Whatever it is, your product, your invention, you hit it and you became a millionaire, whatever. That's self-made. Nobody who gets 3 million or 30 million or any million from their father to start their business is self-made. No. Nobody who inherits, real estate and access to wealth is self-made. Trump was an American icon given to you by the machine. And what do I mean by that? By PR campaigns. It's like saying this. Vanilla Ice, and I use this example a lot because I love hip hop, but Vanilla Ice, would anybody say Vanilla Ice is an amazing rapper? No. But they played that song so many fucking times that after a while you were just like, word, you just loved it, right? Or how about MC Hammer? You know, so when you use public relations or PR campaigns, you convince people to buy into the bullshit. Now remember, this cat made his notoriety off the National Enquirer and Page Six and talk shows. That's all he was. He was a public relations stunt. And over the years of him being in the public eye and them constantly telling you, yo, Trump, yo, this is the way, Trump, Trump. They made you believe that. They made generations believe that. Rappers used to repeat it. You know what I mean? I want to get money like Trump. I got my apartment at the Trump, and it just became a thing. But the reality is, he's a shitty businessman. The reality is, he's an even shittier husband. The reality is, he's an even shittier father. The reality is, he's got a great team of accountants and lawyers. Now, is he really a great businessman? That's arguable, at least from where I'm standing, because I sort of know real estate. I don't have a real estate license and I've never sold homes, but in the commercial real estate business, I have had access. And I've seen what wealthy people can do to take advantage of people who aren't wealthy. And when you're in real estate and you're wealthy, what you can do is burn people out of their money. So if I hire you and I say, yo, you're going to do all my doors for my 128th floor building, all my floors, here's a deposit. Now I give you a third of the money. Job is done. And you're like, hey, listen, you know, you wanted these changes. You wanted this. You wanted that. The bill's like 40% more than what it was, but here's the bill. I ain't paying that. That's too much. Take me to court. And you go to court. You litigate and drag those people out until they have no more money to litigate with you. Because remember, we're talking about some guy that just does doors. He put up all this money on his credit, right? And now he still owes for the doors that he fronted you. And then he's trying to get other work. Who's supposed to give him credit to put doors up? Yo, don't give that dude money. He still owes me $400,000. And then you also wasting your liquid for your lawyer to try to get your money from me. And now either I tire you out because you ain't got no more money, or we finally do get to the point where a decision is going to be made and you lose that extra 40% that was supposed to be on the bill. And not only that, we're going to argue it all the way down, so I only owe you like 25%. Now tell me something. Does that make him smart or does that make him a piece of shit? If you're saying that he's smart for doing that, you're a piece of shit. And Trump is a piece of shit. But anyway, some people don't like the truth. Selective hearing. Listen, I believe that we live in a country full of dummies that want to be told what to believe and what to like. It's just the truth. Man, you got to forgive me today, guys. Today's one of those days that we've had this experience in the past where I have a guest scheduled and something goes wrong, so you get to hear me rant a little bit. And I know nobody's really a fan of listening to somebody talk shit, but today just happens to be one of those days. Salute to Biggie. So yeah, you know, Trump comes along, and now look where we are. If anybody believes for a minute that over the last 4 years, racism and racists haven't been at the forefront of everybody's psyche and everything that we do, you're bugging. You're being truly dishonest about yourself. You understand? Because people have been saying, there's videos, there's all sorts of shit that's going on. And not only that, the deficit is through the roof. You have city agencies that are saying, in New York at least, you have city agencies that are saying they're going to have layoffs. They're going to have to increase fares. You know, it's happening all around us. And, you know, the only people that are not getting hurt are wealthy people. They're just not. And then there's some people that you know, that have money and they're not hurting right now. And you shouldn't have what my guy said, survival's guilt about what's happening with you. But what you should do is pay attention to those that are not hurting. The people that are not hurting are the rule makers. You think these people that, you see the stock market just took like a 30 or 300 point jump or whatever it is? Who is that? Yeah, everybody probably has, there's probably some people on here that have 401ks, right? And you're like, yo, this is great. My 401k's popping. What happens when it's not popping? What happens when that shit takes a 5,000 point hit? You're going to suffer, right? Even if you got savings, you're going to suffer. The people who aren't going to suffer are the rule makers and the people who get to donate to said rule makers. They got what's called long money. They own businesses. They own real estate. They have resources. They play together. They move together. How is it that a government official who has access to intelligence that's we're not privy to can then understand what's going to happen and dump their stock? How is that allowed? If I did that, that'd be some insider trading shit and I'd go to jail. I'd be brought up on charges. They'll seize all my assets. Why is it legal for a government official to do that? And it's in moments like this that we see all this shit going on that people would rather spend their energy and time fighting amongst each other for fucking crumbs or for bullshit than looking at the real cause and root and who's bringing this about. The fucking rule makers. You think Dianne Feinstein or fucking, any of these elected officials, these career elected officials, you think they're hurting? Man, let me tell you something. Their nieces and nephews all work in the fucking in D.C. If they're not with a lobbyist firm, they're interning at inside D.C. or there's somebody's administrative assistant or chief of staff or something. So those people never hurt. But we're made to suffer. We're the ones who gotta bear the brunt of fucking tolls going up and gas going up and all this other shit. But most of all, what you should really be paying attention to is how we're all stuck at home and how we've all become comfortable with that. Now, what I'm not saying to you is that there's nothing to be fearful of. Something is out there. We don't know what it is. They call it COVID. People are dying. People that are friends of mine have lost their parents, loved ones, and so on. But do we really know where it came from? Do we really know, that this vaccination is going to work? Do we really believe that we're going to go back to any sort of normalcy? I think that this is a huge shift and change for society. Now, they're not going to shut down all these items that we've grown used to, public transportation and things of that nature. But I just think that right now is a really important time for you to examine and pay attention to the shit that's going on around you. And especially pay attention to the people who are acting differently and indifferently towards you. When something comes about, those will be the first people to fucking point your ass out. So, anyway, let me get off that. So again, tonight we were supposed to have Mr. Junior Junito, who is an athlete. He is also somewhat of an activist. He definitely has been promoting, a unity in the Latino community, which I was very, very interested to speak with him about, because not a lot of young people today take any pride or even believe in having some sort of pride in their lineage and learning their history, Mr. Martinez, I see you. Salute, Orlando. What's going on? You know, people, our young people have lost touch completely. And I definitely want to say it's a sad situation where, you know, the island of Puerto Rico is in the position that it's in. And there's such a division that they've abandoned the jibaros, if you would, the people who used to be the elders of the island, who were revered and respected by many generations. That's not happening anymore because America has infected Puerto Rico with its ideology of materialism. So we don't have that value. We don't have that connection no more. And the young people have lost their sense of pride. You know, there was a time where you couldn't do the things that are happening on Puerto Rico now. You just couldn't. There was a different mindset. There was what they call orgullo, right? Our people definitely had that within them. And as much as they tried to fight off the Americanizing of Puerto Rico, when you're up against this machine, it's, you know, and you're stripped of self-defense, it's kind of hard to stop. I say that all to say that right now, you know, Puerto Rico is in a very dire position. And I hope that, you know, the people that are watching, especially the younger people, and I don't mean like little kids, I'm just saying like younger people in the 20s and 30s, I hope you start to look back to your island and consider buying property. I really do. Because they are selling off and have been selling off the island bit by bit by bit. And let's be very clear about something. I'm not going to say I hate that connotation. The black people of America are owed a debt. They are. And reparations is something that needs to happen. What I will also say is Puerto Rico is owed a debt. They are owed reparations. America has profited heavily off the raping of the natural resources of Puerto Rico, the pillaging of the land, and the damage, and not only that, the taxing of Puerto Rico. And if people do not start taking this seriously, if the young people do not start investing in Puerto Rico, that place is going to be so out of reach that there's going to come a time in maybe a generation or two que tú no puedes ni ir a Puerto Rico. That your great-grandmothers or grandmothers or uncles or whatever who are still there are going to have to leave. And it's not even going to be a pleasant, let's leave. It's going to be by force. And it's sad to say, and it's even sadder to think about. But just pay attention to the politicians that are out there in Puerto Rico. And, you know, you have these assimilated coconuts that live in the U.S., and they want to beat this drum of, oh, but look at what the politicians are doing now. You seen what they did? Oh, really? Can anybody watching the show tonight tell me a time where we had politicians who were standing up for the liberation of Puerto Rico, to relinquish the power that is over the island to its inhabitants, to its indigenous and native people, to give it its independence? Nobody can name not one fucking politician that's been on that island that has done that or put that at the forefront of their agenda to destroy the Jones Act, for us to be empowered to decide our own destiny. And it never will happen, because the minute that anybody on that island starts that sort of movement, it's a dub. It's a wrap. They'll get knocked off. They'll get killed. They'll get thrown in jail. Something will happen to them. Anytime a people that is under American rule starts to decry and demand its independence, they're done away with. So you're only going to have people in office and in power that adhere to the American agenda. And if you can make Puerto Ricans hate other Puerto Ricans, how can you not convince them to vote for a bunch of fucking lying leeches to continue to adhere to the American agenda? There's Puerto Ricans that look like me on the island, and there's Puerto Ricans that look as dark as Wesley Snipes. So why is it that there's Puerto Ricans on the island that despise those that look like Wesley Snipes? Why? That self-hatred was learned by America. And it's infected all of the island. And it's very, very, it's disheartening and it's disgusting. Because at the end of the day, we know our origins. But I don't want to continue to get too deep about, race and whatever. But it just happens to be sort of the thing right now. And people need to start realizing that. Will that ever happen in America? I highly doubt it. As a matter of fact, I think it was Mitch McConnell who said that reparations couldn't happen because we don't have the technology and all sorts of other bullshit. And then they come to find out that he's about 2-3 generations removed from slave owners. So, if Gates can get on, Henry Louis Gates has a TV show where he brings on entertainers and actors and so on and does their lineage through DNA. And he just had Larry David on there. I see you, Jay. He just had Larry David on there and Bernie Sanders. And it turns out that Larry David's great-great-grandfather lived in, I want to say Florida or Louisiana, a Jew. And not only did he fight in the Civil War, he fought in the Civil War for the South, but he owned slaves. A Jew in America owning slaves and then fought for the South. Isn't that fucking like crazy? Says a lot. And then they also revealed that him and Bernie Sanders are like cousins or whatever, but whatever. Orlando, I see you. That's right. Anybody in the room who does not know who Pedro Albizu Campo is, if you don't, make sure you find out, one, and two, make sure you find out for yourself, because that's our Malcolm, right? Pedro was Afro-Latino, and I'm talking about real Afro-Latino, like African blood and Puerto Rican blood. And he came from the island and did amazing things and was a scholar and was a soldier and came back to the island, and he was a nationalist. Now, when you hear nationalist, you can't use that connotation towards us or with us in mind, because that's a no-no. That's a sin. Now, when you say white nationalist, it's totally fine. Miss LaLinda Michelle, I see you. Good evening. So Pedro Albizu Campo comes back to the island. He sees the conditions and he starts realizing, like, yo, we need our independence. I'm not letting this shit happen to my people. And he creates a movement. And this man went on to tell the U.S. basically to get the fuck off Puerto Rico, that we'll decide our own destiny. And we're going to take hold of our island, and we're going to be the ones who shape its future. And as I said, anybody who veers off the path of the American agenda is jailed, killed, and whatever, and what have you. And he pretty much went through all those things, and they tortured him and, put him through radiation. And no, he didn't have cancer. They tortured him with radiation. And that great man, he had done and accomplished so much in his life to come back and dedicate his life to Puerto Rico. Yes, he did, sir. Dedicate his life to Puerto Rico, and it's liberation for him, for his life to go that route because of the American agenda. That says it all. And there were many, many others who were on the nationalist movement. Matter of fact, you all know Don Oscar was released from prison, and he was painted a terrorist, and they didn't want to let him lead the Puerto Rican Day Parade. It's all sucker shit. See, when you fight against America, you're a terrorist. You don't get the whole backstory, right? So, and yes, salute to Lolita Lebron también, another one. That woman, man. Yeah. So I don't want to keep running on and shooting at the hip. I'm sorry about this happening tonight. I especially am sorry to my guest, Junior, because he carved out this time to come on the show, and I was really looking forward to talking to him about his experience, his point of view, his perspectives, what he's doing with himself, and where he's come from. And that didn't happen. So we have another random show of me just talking shit, and I hope not everybody's turned off by that. But I do appreciate everybody coming on, just to sit with me for a little while, and just sort of talk about certain things that are happening right now. And again, in the future, the guests we're going to be having on the show is going to take a different look. We're also going to have a special guest from Sunset Park. I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet, but we're going to talk to that person and talk about their come up and the things that they've done in life all these years, and just have a great conversation. I hope everybody could join us for that. I will be making that announcement soon. Also, I'm looking to have next year in January, I was wondering if I can get some married women to have a round table. Outside of the fellas, I want to start with the women and have a round table to speak to what relationships are like, long-term, short-term, being married, and your experiences. And then I'm going to have the fellas come on. I think it's direly important, and I've done maybe 1 or 2 segments on relationships, but I think it's direly important right now in this moment that we speak to the healthy and necessary parts of being in a relationship and what you do to maintain it and create balance. If you guys didn't get to watch last week, go on the video section in the Facebook page, or go to YouTube and see the segment with Javi and Jess, Brianna and Alonzo, 2 couples that were talking about how they manage their lives. Javi and Jess have 3 children. Brianna and Alonzo are just starting out. They're engaged. They have like some pets, but no children. And I think it was a great exchange. So in the near future, I want to get some married women on here and just discuss with them. Miss Brown, Miss Dana Lee, if you're still watching, I might want to bring you on if you can give me a minute of your time. Also, come next year, we're going to be exploring more subjects with more great people. I don't want to say too much. You'll see the postings, and you'll get an understanding of what we're going to be doing. So I hope everybody continues to support. I started a little merch shop. We make no money off the merchandise. It's just if you want to rep the set, you can buy a hoodie. There's a tote. There's a beach blanket. There's a 2-sided hoodie. There's even a baby onesie if you got newborns and want to throw them up in it. Again, we make no money. It's just if you guys want to support, Miss Dana Lee, I might be wanting to call on you to share your experiences about what it's like to be a married woman in a long-term commitment. So I'll be DMing you to connect. And also, I may want to talk about your career, but we'll talk further about that when I reach out. Miss Lourdes, you are also somebody that I need to connect with. We keep missing each other, but I'm going to track you down. Miss Lourdes is part of a piece of history that I want to share with the show in the vein of speaking about Puerto Rico, and I'm hoping to get her on very soon. So that would be a great show. So look out for that. And I don't want to hold anybody. I know it's Sunday. Tomorrow's back to whatever it is that you guys are doing. If you're an essential worker, or if your offices have open, or if you're still working from home, maybe you want to catch your little show before it gets too late or whatever. Mr. Torres, I see you. Salute. Good evening. I don't want to hold anybody up. And again, I apologize. The guest tonight couldn't get on. Listen, shit happens. But if anybody has any suggestions, anything that they want to see on the set, or would like to have as subject matter, reach out, man. Shoot me a DM, tag me in a post, suggest a friend of yours, or even volunteer yourself. And yeah, I'll be more than glad to discuss that with you. I like that. You still have the same number. Before I go, I just want to say a few things. One, salute to my brother-in-law, Mr. Morales. Mr. Morales is an essential worker, and he's out there every day, taking people to and from. So salute to you, man. Be safe out there, and, just keep yourself away from harm. Mr. Martinez, you can go on the Facebook page, just scroll down. You'll find a little merch shop in there. You just click the link and it'll give you all the options to it, if anything. One of the fire starters, Mr. Reggie Smith, my brother, my 410 compadre. I see you. Yeah, I know. You sound like a few of the guests that I had on that know me quite well. But you my brother, so it's all good. So yeah, Mr. Morales, take care of yourself out there when you in the street and when you doing your job. Salute to all the essential workers. I want to salute my son and my daughter, who are both essential workers. I hope that the Most High keeps guard over you and, keeps you safe wherever you go. You're my prized possession, so just be safe out there. And Mr. J. Martinez, man, be safe on them streets, man. I know you out there cooking and chefing it up, man. Be good out there. Mr. Smith, you already know what it is, brother. I know you safe. But yeah, just shout out to all the essential workers and everybody that's keeping things moving. If you see somebody out there having a hard time or somebody stressed out, man, pat them on the back or say good morning or something. Make them feel good about what they're doing right now, because things are really like suspect. But we all need each other in some way, shape, or form. So make sure you're good to each other. Love your children, your significant others, your partners, whatever it is that you call them, the people in your life that you love. Keep them close, and take the time to let them know that they mean so much to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got a choice, bro. You got a choice. But salute to you for making the choice that needs to be made. That's what it's really all about. Oh, Big Uncle John, I see you. Salute to you, brother. And yes, Mr. Martinez, you already know what it is, man. I'm still waiting on your joint. Pause. I'm still waiting on it. I'm still looking out for you, but we gonna connect again. And look at my sister getting on my life right now. Last but not least, yeah, Lotto, I'm gonna play tomorrow. Last but not least, I gotta salute Mrs. A. Without Mrs. A, none of this happens. Mrs. A keeps me fed. She keeps me balanced. She keeps my mind right. And, everything is possible through her. So, salute to my wife. And I guess we'll be connecting next week. I know this wasn't going to be the show. Everything's good, we good. This wasn't going to be the show, but this is how it turned out. And, I apologize to everybody. I'm glad that you stayed around to listen to me talk a little shit. Maybe I'll work things out with Mr. Junito, in the next week or so, and we can get him on and revisit this conversation. But it is what it is for now. Just remember, Sunday, December 6th, 7:30, cinematographer, filmmaker, creator, Aram Spike Bauman is going to be on here. It's going to be a great look. This gentleman is super creative. He's done a lot of great work, and I hope everybody could join us for this conversation. And then Sunday, December 13th, 7:30 p.m., Andres Chulis Rodriguez, singer, actor, and the creator of the one-man show based around his life, This story is going to be heavy. It's going to be funny. It's going to be emotional for some. But if I was you, I would tune in because this is going to be a good one. And then finally, Wednesday, December 16th at 7:30 p.m., CKMD Dance Studios, Miss Beverly Baskus and Chantal Doonesbury. People, these are two women, mother and daughter, who have come together to bring a dream to fruition in this moment in time. It needs to be applauded, and everybody should really tune in and watch that show. So I don't want to hold y'all. Salute, Mr. Smith. Ms. Morales, good night. Ms. Dana, I see you. Thank you for joining us. And I'll be reaching out. I hope everybody, don't let this affect your viewership, but I love all of y'all. Live the life you love and love the life you live.